कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भगवद्गीता अध्याय 4 श्लोक 4। अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति। Bhagavan began this chapter by stating that he gave the Vidya, the spiritual knowledge, to Vivaswan in the beginning of the Srishti. Then Arjuna gets a doubt. Arjuna is closely related to Krishna, and they are of the same age. And they were cousins. They were cousins because Kunti, Arjuna's mother, is a sister of Vasudeva. That is how they are related. Therefore, Arjuna knows that Krishna was born very recently. He was not born during Srishti. He was not born thousands of years ago. Both are of the same age. Krishna was also born somewhere around the same time when Arjuna was born. Then how is it possible that he taught Vivaswan? Vivaswan means Aditya, Surya Bhagavan. How can he teach Surya Bhagavan in the beginning of creation when he was not there? He was not even born at that time. This is Arjuna's question. See the Sloka. अपरं भवतो जन्म, भवतः जन्म, your birth, aparam, recent, your birth is recent. And Madhusudana Saraswati adds one more thing. In addition to being recent, you are born as a human being. The human birth is inferior compared to that of the Devatas, because the Devatas have much greater privilege. They can travel everywhere, they can live very long, they can know much more things than us. Therefore, Krishna, who is in the human body, is inferior to the Devatas, according to Arjuna. Therefore, you are born recently and you are born inferior with respect to Aditya, with respect to Vivaswan. Param Janma Vivaswataha. Whereas the birth of Vivaswan, Surya, the sun god, is Param. It happened long back in the beginning of Srishti, in the beginning of this cycle of creation. And Madhusudana Saraswati adds that the birth of the sun is superior, Utkrishta Janma, because he is a Devata. Being Devata, he is Utkrishta. He is superior and much older than you. Then how is it that you taught him that too in the beginning of Srishti? How can I understand? How can I believe what you are saying? कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति. त्वम् आदौ प्रोक्तवान् iti. You have told this Adau in the beginning of Srishti. Iti. This claim of yours. Katham vijaniya. How can I understand it? Madhusudana Saraswati analyzes this question of Arjuna. Krishna could not have taught this to Vivaswan in this Sharira, in the present body, he could not have taught, because the present body is of recent origin. It was not present during Srishti. Then suppose Krishna had taught it in another Janma, which he had during creation. During creation, Krishna had another Janma. If he had taught this at that time in another body, then he could not have remembered that now, because generally we don't remember our previous Janmas, with some exceptions, of course. Very recently, I came across some video in the YouTube. There is a boy in Haryana. He remembers his previous Janma, and he is able to recognize all his relatives in the previous Janma who live just a few kilometers away from his village. It's quite interesting. You can watch it in YouTube. It is there. It is a very beautiful evidence that there is a rebirth. There are some people who remember their previous janmas. So, if Krishna had taught this in another janma, in another body, then the greater chance is that he cannot remember it now. But supposing Krishna is an exception, like the boy in Haryana, such people are called Jatismara. The people who can remember their previous janma are called Jatismara. Supposing Krishna is a Jatismara, even then Arjuna thinks that he could not have taught Vivaswan, because Vivaswan's janma is much superior than even that of a Jatismara, an ordinary jiva. Therefore, Arjuna is not getting convinced that Krishna had taught it to Vivaswan. Therefore, he is still wondering how to understand this claim of Krishna. Then Bhagavan says that both Krishna and Arjuna, they had many janmas. We will see the next sloka. Bhagavan is answering Arjuna's question. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bahuni me vyatitani Janmani tava charjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Na Tvam Vetha Parantapa. Bhagavan says, Hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, me tavacha bahuni janmani vyatitani. Both me and you, we have spent many janmas. We have passed many janmas. This is not new to Arjuna. Yes, we had many janmas. Even in chapter 2, this was taught. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grandhati naroparani ityadi. So we had many janmas. Arjuna says, yes, but still, how could you have taught Vivaswan? Because Vivaswan is a Devata. You were not a Devata. You are a human being, an ordinary Jiva. How could you have taught Vivaswan? Then Bhagavan says, Bhagavan is hinting that he is not an ordinary Jiva. Instead, he is Sarvajna Ishvara. Being the Sarvajna Ishvara, he knows all the janmas of himself as well as all the janmas of others also. Tanyaham Veda Sarvani. Aham Tani Sarvani Veda. With this statement, he is ruling out the Jatismara also. Even the Jatismaras are Jivas. Even the Jatismara are ordinary people who sometimes remember a little of their previous janma. They are not sarvajna. They are not all knowledge. But Krishna is not a Jatismara. He is Ishvara. Being Ishvara, he is Sarvajna. Therefore, he knows all his janmas as well as all the janmas of Arjuna, as well as all the janmas of all of us. That is the difference between we and Ishvara. The difference between us and Ishvara, he knows all his janma and others' janma. We don't know our own janma. Aham tani sarvani veda. I know all of them. He Parantapa. Bhagavan is addressing Arjuna. He Parantapa. Parantapayati iti Parantapa. One who scorches his enemies is called Parantapa. O Arjuna, you are a great man, very brave man. Your enemies are scared of you, but still you are not Ishvara. You are a Jiva. Therefore, you are not Sarvajna. A Jiva is Alpajna. The knowledge of a Jiva is limited. Therefore, you don't know all the janmas. You don't know all the janmas of yourself also. You know only this janma of yourself. That is what most of us know. We don't know our previous janma. Thank God we don't know our previous janma. If we know our previous janma, it can create problem. One janma itself we are not able to handle. If we know many janmas, if we have the memory of many janmas, you can imagine how difficult it is. We are not able to handle the many memory of even one janma. Therefore, Bhagavan has removed the memory. Bhagavan has blocked the memory of the past janmas from our mind. It is a grace. It is a grace that he has blocked our memory. We should thank Bhagavan for blocking the memory of other janmas. Therefore, he says, Mattasmritirjnanam apohanancha. In chapter 15 of Gita, even apohanam means forgetting. Even forgetting is a grace of Bhagavan. Therefore, don't feel bad that we forget. Even forgetting is a boon to large extent. Tvam na vetha. You don't know because you are not Ishvara. You are not Sarvajna. You are Alpajna Jiva. Thus, Bhagavan has revealed to Arjuna that he is Ishvara. If he is Ishvara, how is it possible that he has appeared as a human being? How he has taken a human body, being Ishvara? Bhagavan answers this question in the next few shlokas. The next few shlokas explain the phenomenon called avatar. When Bhagavan manifests on the earth in any given form, sometimes human form and sometimes maybe in other forms also. There are various avatars, and some avatars are in the form of animals also, and some avatars are in the form of a mixture of human and animal also, like Narasimha, Hayagriva. Bhagavan manifests on the earth in a given body for a particular purpose. It is called avatar. Bhagavan taking a particular body for a particular purpose is called avatar. The jiva, the jivas are born because of their ignorance and their karma. How are we born? We don't choose to take birth. We don't choose to take our body. What makes us take a particular body? Our previous karma. In our previous janmas, we have done some amount of punya and some papa also. Our punya and papa in the previous janma decides our present body. It has already decided our present body. We don't have a choice. We are born helplessly. We are helplessly put into mother's womb, and we are helplessly brought to this world because of our own past karma. That is how a human being is born, a jiva is born. But it is not so with the Bhagavan, because Bhagavan does not have ignorance. Being Sarvajna, he is free from ignorance. If he does not have ignorance, he cannot have karma also. When there is ignorance, there can be karma. If there is no ignorance, there is no possibility of karma, no possibility of punya and papa. Therefore, Bhagavan does not have punya and papa. Since he does not have punya and papa, he cannot have birth and death like any ordinary jiva. Therefore, Bhagavan is free from birth and free from death. Ajopi san avyayatma. We will read this sloka. Ajopi san avyayatma. भूतान भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. अजोऽपि सन् अव्ययात्मा. In truth, Bhagavan is free from birth and death because he does not have karma. Ajaha api san. Api, even though. Ajaha, free from birth. Avyayatma. Vyaya, in this context, means leaving the body. Death. Avyayatma means free from death. When do we die? When our prarabdha gets exhausted, we die. Bhagavan does not have prarabdha. Therefore, there is no possibility of exhaustion of prarabdha also. Therefore, he is avyayatma, free from death, free from birth and free from death, because he does not have karma. Therefore, he cannot have birth like ordinary jivas. And there is another reason also, because of which he cannot have Janma and Marana like other Jivas, like the Jivas. Bhutanam Ishwaropi San. He is the Ishvara, the Lord of the Bhutas. Bhuta means the Jivas who take birth and death because of their karma are called Bhuta. Bhagavan is the Lord of the Jivas. He is the one who decides which Jiva will have what birth according to his karma, according to the karma of the Jiva. Therefore, Bhagavan is responsible for the birth and death of the Jivas. He is the karma phala data. Being the controller of the birth and death, he cannot be controlled by anybody. Therefore, nobody can push him to birth and nobody can push him to death. Unlike all of us, we are helplessly pushed into birth and death. But Ishvara cannot be pushed because he is the Ishvara. Bhutanam Ishwaropi San. Being the Lord of all the Bhutas, being the Lord of birth and death, he is not subject to birth and death. Yet, in spite of this, Bhagavan appears to be born and appears to be dead. Bhagavan appears in a particular body. Shankaracharya refers to this phenomenon Jata Iva, as though born, appears as though he is born. Jata Iva, as though. Why as though? Because it is not real Janma. Unlike us. And how is it possible? Bhagavan himself is explaining Prakritim Swamadhishthaya. There is something called Prakriti. Prakriti means Maya. Which consists of three gunas. Everything in the universe is made of Prakriti, the three gunas. And the Prakriti is Bhagavan's Shakti. It is Bhagavan's power. All of us are under the control of Prakriti. Whereas Bhagavan is not under the control of Prakriti. Instead, he controls the Prakriti. He makes use of his Prakriti and appears in a particular body. Prakritim swam adhisthaya, taking hold of my Prakriti, making use of my Prakriti, wielding my Prakriti. Atmamayaya sambhavami, I manifest. Sambhavami, I manifest. In a given body. Not because of karma. Then how? Atmamayaya, by making use of my Maya. Sloka 7. Yada yada hi dharmasya ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. Now Bhagavan explains when he takes the avatar, when he manifests on the earth, yada yada, whenever there is a requirement. And what is the requirement? Sometimes Dharma declines on the earth and Adharma prevails. Adharma becomes dominant over Dharma. Yada yada dharmasya glanihi bhavati, when there is decline of Dharma and abhyuthanam adharmasya, the adharmasya abhyuthanam, predominance of adharma, when many people in the world, majority of the people in the world give up dharma, give up the path of righteousness and take to adharma, Then Bhagavan finds it the right time to descend on the earth and restore the Dharma. Therefore, tada atmanam srajamyaham, tada aham atmanam srajami. Then I manifest myself. The next sloka explains avatara karya, the function of an avatar, the work of an avatar. What does an avatara do? The avatara strengthens the people who follow Dharma, protects the people who follow Dharma, and destroys the people who have taken to adharma. In addition to these two, the avatara restores dharma by teaching as well as encouraging the dharma among the mankind. We will read Sloka 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Bhagavan mentions three works of an avatar. The first one, paritranaya sadhunam. Sadhunam paritranam, protecting the sadhus. Who are the sadhus? One of the commentators says, Pranatyayepi ye swadharmam na tyajanti te eva sadhavaha. The people who do not give up their dharma even at the cost of their life are called sadhus. The people who stick to dharma even under most challenging circumstances are called sadhus. One might follow dharma when there is no problem. Everyone speaks truth. when there is no problem. But when there is a problem, we are tempted to tell a lie. The value of truthfulness. When can we say that we are following the value of truthfulness? When we are sticking to truthfulness even during challenging situations. The sadhu is the one who does not give up dharma, who does not make a compromise, even if there is a threat to his life. Bhagavan protects such people. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. When we adhere to dharma, dharma protects us. The dharma might protect us in many ways. One such way of protecting is in the form of avatar. Paritranaya sadhunam. Sadhu paritrana. Protecting the sadhu, protecting the dharmika people is one avatara karya. The second avatara karya, vinashaya cha dushkratam, the destruction of the evil ones. Dushkratam, people who have taken to evil deeds, people who have taken to adharma, and thereby they have become a threat to the society, a problem to the society. Bhagavan destroys them. Dushkratam vinashaya. In the story of any avatara, we find that Bhagavan has destroyed many evil ones like Kamsa, Chanura, Kamsa Chanura Mardanam. In Krishnavatara, he killed Kamsa and other evil ones. In Ramavatara, he destroyed Ravana, Kumbhakarna, etc. Vinashaya cha dushkratam. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Third role of an avatara, restoration of dharma. When the dharma has declined on the earth, there is a need to amplify the dharma. It can be done in various ways. By teaching the dharma to the people. In addition to teaching the dharma, the people need to be inspired to follow the dharma as well. Thus, restoration of dharma is another work of the avatar. Dharma samsthapanarthaya, for the sake of restoration of dharma, revival of dharma. Sambhavami yuge yuge, Bhagavan manifests in every yuga, in every period of time. Whenever there is a need, Bhagavan manifests. The avatara doesn't have a limit of number. Some people say there are 10 avatars. Some people say there are 24 avatars. But it is not so. There are 10 avatars or 24 avatars mentioned in the Puranas. Bhagavatam mentions 24 avatars. Among them, 10 are more prominent. It does not mean avatars are only 10 or 24. Bhagavatam itself says, Avatara hyasankhyaha. There are innumerable avatars. Innumerable avatars have come in the past, and innumerable avatars may come in the future also. Therefore, Sambhavami yuge yuge, I manifest in every yuga, from time to time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.